Hi, how are you?
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. Oh my God, it's the
I
baby.
know it's a mess in here. But how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I just came on here to like give you your praise and that I admire you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I admire you. Thank you for like creating this platform and doing this. I'm sorry that I have to keep rescheduling, but I
no,
just have so many I feel like I have meetings nonstop.
it's okay. Like one of the things that
Okay.
I admire you about is that you had your spin studio, you opened it right before the pandemic, and then you had your baby that same, like all within the same time frame, and like all this
Yes.
craziness was happening. And
Yes.
but you had kept like your mission within yourself about how you're just trying to expose like communities for us to
Yep.
like exercise and like music that we love and appreciate. And you just like kept your passion. And so
Yes.
like I'm just excited to be talking to you, to be honest.
I'm excited too. I'm very excited.
But we're recording, by the way, so it's just gonna be a natural conversation. Honestly,
Okay.
this is just for me and my homegirls. Like, we love you. So I just want to show them that like there are entrepreneurs, like yourself that can come as themselves authentically and still do well despite circumstances. And I just want to know like how girl, how and like what helped.
Honestly, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like authenticity is key. It's what has allowed me to not only grow my brand and like allow people to understand what I'm doing, but it's really what has allowed me to sustain it, right? Because we see people creating things all of the time. And I think, especially in the culture that we live in now, people create things for many reasons and they're not always authentic to themselves. And so I always say, like, it's not that I'm least impressed with people who start things, but I'm more impressed with people who can sustain things and grow things and change things because um, authenticity is what allows you to do that. So
Mm.
that's like what's very much a key for me.
I completely agree, but I have to say, like, I've struggled becoming my authentic self, like, just like living in America. And then I've like kind of grew up around like I was like the only Black girl in most spaces. And then so like not seeing yourself in certain environments, I'm a realtor now and I do like all this stuff now, but like I didn't see, a version of myself like in those spaces. So it like really took me a while to believe that I could do it. So like I want to ask you, like, what helped you become more authentic and find that?
So one, you are not alone. I have been there. I was there for a long time. And I think it's several factors that kind of tie into authenticity, right? So like one, you choose who you want to be. It's not like some profound moment where like the heavens open up and then everything rains down and it's like, Nicole, the realtor is who you are with your braids, like that's not how it happens. It's like you identify things that make you feel good and that feel natural to you. And the more that you start to acknowledge the things that feel good to you, the more that you can lean into them. I think a lot of times when we're trying to figure it out, especially as young women, young Black women, I also grew up in spaces where I may have been the only one. And even in spaces where like I went to a historically Black college, I still didn't always feel like myself, right? So it's not always about um, being in spaces with others like you. It really is about taking ownership of who you are wanting to be and leaning into it, right? Like Nicole, it makes you feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. But for some reason, we do things that like don't make us feel good because we're like, oh, this seems cool. Like other people, it feels good to other people. Let me
Yeah.
try it. And it's
Yeah.
like you waste a lot of time doing that. Like
Yeah.
you know what is right for you. And I think that's when you start to realize that you have that power and it's okay that some of the things that may make you feel great don't work for others and some of the things that others may feel great doing don't work for you, and like that's okay. And the more that you practice it, I think of it as a muscle of like being yourself is like a muscle that you have to work because we live in a society that is always telling us, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're preaching right now. You're on a roll.
No, but like we live in a society that's always telling us who we should be, how we should look, what our body should look like, how we should be a mom, how we should be an entrepreneur, when to get married, how the career, like, like there are all of these things that we're bombarded with all of the time. And so I think the more that you practice, like, actually, that doesn't work for me. Actually, that doesn't work for me. The more you do it, you're like, oh, this is what I like. This is how I want to operate. This is how I want to dress, how I want to speak. And those moments add up to this reality that I live in now, where it's like, I'm 31 and now I feel like my authentic self. 21-year-old Briana would not have been having this. 27-year-old Briana probably wasn't having this conversation. So it really is a blessing.
No, I think everything what you said is like spot on. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to navigate now. Like I'm 26 and I'm just like, like, you know, making money is cool, but making money in the way that feels authentic to me is like it, you know, like even if I have to struggle for a couple years to like figure out what that is, like, I just want to be in that lane, like forever. And like, what really gets me lapsed on that right now is like social media, because I feel like you like are just like scrolling all the time. And so many people are like, you know, like, hey, this is fun. Like, you know, and then that's fun. Or like, I'm having like, my life is great, you know, and then you're sitting and then you're thinking about yourself and you're reflecting and you're like, maybe I should do this or that. And so it's just so hard to kind of just like come into yourself and block out everything. But
so much of our lives are literally consuming other people's lives. Like that is what our days are made of, which is insane when you think about it. It's like we spend our own lives entrenched in what other people are doing. And so I think you have to, when you realize that, and because you just said it, it's like, you know that it's happening and you have to be more mindful, right? And like, that is what I'm all about. That's what like authenticity means to me. That's what a spiked lifestyle means to me. It's really paying attention to yourself and checking yourself, right? Like no one else can do that. I don't know what's happening in your thoughts. You don't know what's happening in my thoughts, but when you feel those triggers happening, like, damn, I'm focusing so much on what such and such is doing that I haven't even checked in with myself, cut it off immediately. And like, that is a practice that I will literally like block people, unfollow people, mute people. Like if it's taking away from the energy that I need, I'm okay with cutting it off. And sometimes you can look at it as like, I should be stronger, I should be able to, but the reality is sometimes you're just not. And be gentle with yourself and like, okay, right now this person is triggering me because she's living the life I want to live and I keep comparing myself and I can't get out of that. And like, if you find that, then that person's not inspiring you. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between someone who you follow them and you're like, oh my God, she makes me want to like be the best realtor. That's inspo. But when you're following someone and you find yourself comparing and you're like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough, that's not inspiration, you know? And you have to be very clear on that. And so in those moments, check them. Like, all right, this girl is great and I love what she's doing, but for the space that I'm in right now, it's just not adding to the energy that I need, and I'm just gonna cut it off. And like, give yourself that grace.
Nice. I love that. I'm gonna use that. Thank you. And I know you've been through some of your lowest moments, like as a mom, as an entrepreneur, because it was all happening at once, girl. Like, how did you pull yourself out of that? Because I just feel like most people don't understand that like entrepreneurship are highs and lows, and you have to be able to navigate that mentally. You know, and then if you're already in like a bad place, it's like, you're not ready for this type of life. So like, I just want a little bit of advice as far as that.
I think you need to have a great support system. I would be lying if I said like, I just did it all on my own. I have an incredible husband who literally reminds me of who I am all of the time, reminds me of my greatness, and just consistently tells me, even on my hardest day and my lowest day, like, yo, you are Briana. Don't ever forget that. Same happens with like my mom and my best friends and I just have like a really strong circle of people who are always reminding me that everything is a season, right? Like nothing is permanent. And sometimes when you're going through things, it feels like this is your forever, and it's not. And it's like, how can I pivot? How can I be creative enough to go through this, to bounce back from this, to handle this? And that's really my biggest advice, is like, lean into your community. And if you don't have a community of people who are reminding you of your greatness, that's not your community. Like, I
Mhm.
cannot emphasize enough, even if you just have one person that makes you feel extraordinary, that's all you need. You just need that one voice that's like, you are incredible, you are extraordinary, you are
Yes.
beautiful. Like, if you have that, then I'm not saying that it's easy, because you'll still
Yeah.
deal with you'll beat yourself up and where you should be and how you want to be. So I'm not by any means diminishing those feelings, but I can acknowledge that the the community around me is what helps me get through the crazy phase of like COVID,
Mm.
no business, pregnancy, not being able to see my family, like
Right.
everything FaceTime. So I have to give them all the credit for that season.
Well, how are you doing now, Brie? Like, what's up? What's happening? Are you okay? Is life good? I feel like your place is probably packed now. Business is probably good. Like, let's talk about it.
Honestly, life is incredible. I cannot complain. Even in the midst of all the craziness that happened last year, my life was incredible. And like, that's what I also had to remind myself. I'm like, you are literally walking and living in your dreams. You are literally living and walking in someone else's dreams. Like, it's never lost on me that my life is a blessing. Like, everything I get to experience, being a mom, being an entrepreneur, being a Black woman, being a beautiful Black woman, having a husband, being strong, being proud, being empowering, being inspiring, like, all of these things are gifts, and like, if you just walk through it always looking for the next thing, then of course you'll be like, oh, I should be rich, I should be famous, I should have
Right.
50,000 million,
Right.
but when you sit back, it's like, no, I'm going at my own pace. I'm not the biggest, I'm not the best, I'm not whatever, but like, I'm still great.
Mm.
And I live in that space. And I think that's what continues to allow so many blessings to pour, because I'm always grateful for even the like tiniest minute thing. So
Mm.
right now, life is great. I'm literally
Gratitude.
so happy to be back open. Spike Spin, if you all are in Brooklyn, come drop by. We are expanding to new cities.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, like my team is expanding. I'm having extremely great conversations with other people who want to be a part of my brand and like this company. And so I can't complain. Like, my life is doing good. My
Yes.
baby's healthy. I am healthy.
Yes.
I'm getting
Beautiful.
back into shape. I'm trying to like get myself back in order, and like, things are good.
Do you feel comfortable sharing with us like where you want to be and like how we could support you and stuff like that?
Where I want to be in terms of what?
In like 5 years, like if you could see your brands in an ideal place for you, what would what would be happening?
Yeah, in 5 years, Spike Spin and Wellness Company will be global. We'll have at least 2 to 3 locations in international markets. That's like very important to me, and preferably in markets that are people of color. So maybe like the Caribbean or like parts of Africa. Like, I still want to continue to focus on marginalized groups and people who don't always have this access and exposure. I will continue to be the CEO and founder, but I also want to pivot into a few other avenues that are important to me, like helping other small businesses and entrepreneurs grow their brands.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also love to have another kid.
Hey.
um,
Someone's gonna have a little sibling.
Yeah, I'll give my boy a little sibling. I would love to have financial freedom, meaning I can just totally operate in a way that can not only give freedom to myself, but like the people that I love most. So like my immediate family and my husband's immediate family. And really just continuing to grow the community and as many ways as we can, providing as many services as we can. So yeah, the next 5 years, I just see ownership, prosperity, and new levels. I don't put any limits on God. So like, those are my plans, but God can be like bigger.
Right. Girl,
bigger.
we 10 times in that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And it's the spirituality for me, because like that's really what gets me. Like, I have to lean in on faith, because a lot of the times you really don't know like what's gonna happen next month, in 6 months from now. Like, oh my God.
It is God for me every day and every season. Like, trust me, it's me and God. I always my prayers every day are like, God, it's always still just you and me. Like, I don't care. The followers, the family, all of it comes from God. And so I'm like, at the end of the day, God, I still need you more than I needed you yesterday. Please don't ever think that I have changed. Like, I still need you the most.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
You're so cool. Like, I'm like so excited for people to experience your energy, because I feel like you are a Black female mom entrepreneur doing it. Super cool. Like you dress cool, you know what I mean? You still take care of yourself, like CEO, you're going global. Like what? Like, I just want as many people to see this as possible. Like, a problem that I'm having with like my stuff is like, I feel like people don't take me seriously, like as an entrepreneur, as a CEO. And even like sometimes within my own friends and family, like I'll get texts and calls, and then people will get mad at me because I'm not responding like to them in time, or like they'll feel personally insulted. And I'm just like, but if you respected me as like an entrepreneur, you would understand that this is crazy.
But you just have to continue to align yourself with, like I mentioned earlier, the woman you want to be, and you walk in that, and they will get on board. It does take time, because people are used to you being like little Nicole, little cousin, little sister, my daughter, whatever that role is to them. And so you have to start to carry and conduct yourself the way you want to be treated at all times. And that was something that it took me time to learn too. In the beginning, I wanted to be the homegirl. I wanted to be super nice and like, you can be nice and you can be fair, but you also have to be clear and stern about your expectations and your intentions. And that is business. And it's not personal. It is what it is. And the more that you own that, the further ahead you'll be. At 26, I wish I had someone to tell me that, because I wasted a lot of time concerned about, the perception. Are they going to take me serious? It's like, you take you seriously, and it doesn't matter what the rest of them do. Nicole takes Nicole seriously. You carry yourself that way. You conduct yourself that way. They have to get on board.
Right.
Like, if you're sending me a text and I'm not responding, it's because I'm expecting an email, because that's where I handle my business. However it is that you want to create those boundaries, you just have to create them and stay true to them. And then other people will slowly see, like, okay, Nicole's not playing. Like, all right, like. And even sometimes with me, I feel that I'm like, people don't understand my vision sometimes. And I had to get okay with, like, God did not give it to them. This is not a group project.
Right.
This is something that he has given to me. And I have to be a good steward of bringing it to the world and being okay with however everyone else receives it. This is what I was given to do, and I'm going to do what I have to do for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just feel like sometimes other people's perception kind of like slows you down a little bit.
Yes.
Know? So it's like frustrating.
You are normal. You are normal. Like, when I tell you, it takes that muscle that I was telling you earlier. Like, I have spent plenty of days, and I'm on the other side of it now at 31. That's why I can tell you, like, you'll get through it. But I have spent plenty of wasted time crying, or just feeling down, or feeling sad, or feeling confused. Like, why don't they respect me? Why do they think this? Like, and then you get to a place where you're like, I have things to do. And it doesn't include fighting over, whatever your feelings are about me. Like, whatever you feel, girl, go ahead. And let me just continue to show you, because that's where the proof is.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And I'm so sad that this interview is ending. But so if I could just have like one last little nugget for all the young girls out there, who are maybe in high school and college and looking up to women like you and me and being like, I want to be like you guys. Like, how do I get there? Where do I start? What would you say to them?
I would tell the young girl that's looking up to us that, first of all, you are already enough. You already have everything you need, and you have to believe it. And I think that is the number one thing. If I believed how great I was, I would be even better. I didn't believe it. And I'm telling you, you are great. Like, I swear, you're better than this world. Like, the things that this world tries to take away from you and strip you of, you have no control over. But the more that you can lean into you and know you were created divinely, you already have it, you already are it, and just walk in that. Whatever it is that you want to do, just walk in it, so boldly, you will always be great. Every phase of your life will be great as long as you walk in it very boldly, knowing who you are and whose you are.
It's the confidence for me. I love that. That was like, it's literally so critical because like insecurities and fears will literally stop you from like pursuing and going through the doors that you're supposed to be going through. And then sometimes, like you said, it's your surroundings, it's your community. Like, do you have a supportive community? You know what I mean? And like all of these things, like I hope people are like taking notes because they matter, you know? And like this is stuff I've had to learn like the hard way.
Yep.
So
I have had to learn it the very hard way. And I'm sure the people listening probably still will learn it the hard way because it's just one of those things. Like we live in such a messed up world where they make money on tearing us down and breaking us down and making us feel like we're not enough. And so the most thing that I want to do for every young girl and really every person I come in contact with is just to consistently remind them that like you are great. You were great before all of the other additives. Like without the hair, without the makeup, without the clothes, without the followers, without the likes, like you were still great. You were already great. You were created in greatness. So how could you not be? So that's my tidbit.
It's a wrap. That's it. I think you gave everything that was needed for today. And like, I wish I could have seen this 5 years ago, but it's okay because we're giving it and we're pouring it into someone who else might need it. So thank you so much, Bri, for taking the time.
Thank you, Nicole.
I definitely I'm going to keep in contact with you as best I can. And
I was going to say, please just like shoot me emails on occasion. Yes. I know it's hard to talk, but like definitely keep me updated. I would love to follow your journey and like, let's just keep it going.
Yes. And I'm going to come to Spiked and visit and say hi. So
yes, let me know anytime you want to come. Anytime you want to come, it's something.
Okay. All right.
Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.